In the midst of an ordinary lecture, beneath the shadow of the Beaumont MC's fifth floor, the spine-chilling story of Muhammad's heinous acts sent ripples of fear throughout. Besides the cold-blooded murders of his neighbor and her daughter, he harbored a dark vendetta against his former professor at the Beaumont MC. To peel back another layer of this haunting tapestry, we must dive into the experience of a bystander, trapped and isolated, while the horrifying drama unfolded around them. Beneath the floor where Alex sat engrossed in his notes, the life of the professor was brutally snuffed out. Shadows seemed to stretch and darken as Alex found himself imprisoned within a restroom's cold confines. An agonizing 3/4 of an hour ticked by, every second a weighty reminder that this might be the last breath, the last heartbeat. Elsewhere, Kim's fate led her face to face with the perpetrator as she sought sanctuary in the education center. A tale of 3 medical students ensnared in the throes of that dire, pitch-black Thursday. While the mundane discussion of conversation skills filled the air in the GK building, a haunting symphony of unfamiliar noises began from the floor below. Alex recalled. It wasn't the unmistakable echo of gunshots. It was more akin to the thud of a toppled cabinet, followed by the muffled impact of a body meeting the ground. In this institution, devoid of patience and dedicated to learning, practical sessions were the norm. Students would often simulate treatments, honing their skills on one another. Perhaps someone's overwhelmed by the pressure, Alex mused, given the nature of the classes. Then that scent hit us, a smoky aroma, heavy and foreboding. With chilling clarity, Alex would later piece together that the odor was likely wafting from Dearborn, a cruel signature left by Muhammad after setting ablaze the home of his neighbors. Prompted by concern and curiosity, Alex ventured. We needed to ascertain the situation. The chilling encounter in the corridor with a teacher, already aware of the shooter's presence, jolted them back to reality. Classes ceased abruptly, replaced by chaos and urgency. Initially, our thoughts darted to a possible criminal confrontation, but never did we imagine it'd be a familiar face from our faculty. When confronted by the police outside, their inquiries painted the grim picture. The revelation, it was a teacher involved, only heightened the terror that had already gripped them. In the midst of the sprawling halls of the education center, co-assistant Kim found herself enveloped in an atmosphere that felt both surreal and stifling. The otherwise routine ambiance of the large lecture hall was suddenly disrupted when whispers of an unsettling incident at the GK building began to filter in. A haunting text painted an eerie picture. Police and firefighters converging upon the West Dearborn downtown district. The hum of anxiety grew louder when it was murmured that a teacher had been harmed, forcing the lecture to come to a jarring halt. The doctor, sensing the thickening tension, declared that anyone feeling the prickling sense of unease was free to depart. As shadows of uncertainty loomed, Alex's WhatsApp group became a vortex of dread and speculation. A chilling screenshot circulated, the professor's LinkedIn profile, juxtaposed with words that felt like they were uttered from the abyss. It's time. Urged by the police, Alex's group gravitated toward the safe confines of a lecture hall within the education center, a place to share their harrowing experiences. However, as they navigated the maze-like corridors leading to the main building, the pall of fear descended once more. The air grew thick, almost suffocating, as helmeted officers from the Special Intervention Service brandished weapons of grim intent, their shouts urging immediate evacuation. Panic surged like a tidal wave. Students scattered, with destinations varied, some towards the looming edifice of Beaumont MC, others disappearing into the city or seeking shelter within the commercial recesses of the building. Alex recounted, I found refuge within a vaccination room, its sanctuary marred by the anguished cries of children and the chilling absence of a lock. Parallel to Alex's ordeal, the education center underwent a mass evacuation, propelling Kim from her lecture haven. Her recount is chilling. The ominous threshold between the education center and the hospital's grand hall became impassable, declared a danger zone. but safety was an illusion, as whispers of the approaching shooter spiraled into palpable terror. Kim's narrative grew tense. In a bid to find sanctuary, I veered toward a restroom, but terror was in close pursuit. A girl fleeing from a floor above, and in her wake, a man, his demeanor unsettlingly calm, holding a luminescent object of dread. The narrative reached a macabre crescendo as the object, a Molotov cocktail, met the ground, exploding into a cacophony of flame and chaos, mere meters from Kim. Reality and cinematic horror blurred as scenes reminiscent of nightmarish escape rooms played out. As a frenzied crowd sought refuge on the terrace, Kim's eyes scanned desperately for familiar anchors, but to no avail. The terrace, a supposed safe haven, turned into a trap, its corner culminating in a chilling dead end. The cacophony of the outside world was a stark contrast to the muted conversation Kim was having with her friend. With each pulse-quickening recount of the unfolding horror, her friend marveled at Kim's eerie calmness, a testament to the human capacity to compartmentalize terror in real time. Perhaps it was the mind's defense against the overwhelming terror, a shield of calm in the storm of chaos, Kim reflected. The sprawling expanse of the terrace gave way to a stairwell, a potential path to freedom. Guided by instinct and her friend's voice in her ear, she sprinted, each step echoing her desperation. The cold, industrial bowels of the parking garage awaited her, a grim yet hopeful refuge. Finally, the exit loomed ahead, where the imposing figures of riot police stood sentinel at West Bloomfield Township, an emblem of order amid the bedlam. Across the labyrinthine premises, Alex's narrative took on an even darker tone. The echo-filled corridors of the education center were suddenly filled with a hauntingly familiar directive, a call to return. Barely a breath later, fire and fury personified in the form of a Molotov cocktail tore through the atmosphere. Panic ensued, a frenetic dance of survival. I felt an icy hand of dread as I realized the nearest exit was out of reach, Alex recalled. In an act of desperation, he and a fellow student sought sanctuary in the one place they could access, a restroom designed for the disabled. The confines of this space would be their world for the next 45 minutes. In this dimly lit refuge, time became a malevolent entity. Each tick of the clock was punctuated by heartbeats that seemed deafening. The piercing ring of the 911 emergency line became Alex's tether to reality. The restroom's heavy silence was occasionally broken by 3 thunderous bangs that resonated with their darkest fears of a school shooting, by the creeping tendrils of smoke that hinted at the inferno outside, and by the haunting footfalls that seemed to linger just beyond the door. Rumors whispered of multiple malevolent actors, and each step outside heightened the dread. Holding on to the slender thread of hope provided by the voice on the other end of the line, I clung to the belief that the police would announce themselves, Alex remembered, his voice quivering with the memory. The twisted vortex of fear and resignation made the restroom their purgatorial stage. As the minutes seemed to stretch into lifetimes, both students found themselves confronting their mortality, surrendering to their faith, and uttering what they believed to be their final testaments. It was a profound moment of serenity amidst the palpable dread, an acceptance of a fate we thought was inevitable, Alex whispered, his voice carrying the weight of the memory. The very fiber of his being was ready to defend, to wage one final fight against a dark destiny. Elsewhere, the relentless churn of the digital age transformed smartphones into cauldrons of confusion. The digital channels, primarily WhatsApp, became a breeding ground for rumors, each more outlandish and frightening than the last. The supposed description of the attacker, the rumors of multiple culprits, and even the mention of a bomb threat all coalesced into a phantasmagoric tapestry of fear. The harrowing images of the education center, a sanctuary for so many, consumed by flames, was a gut punch for Alex. To see a place so intimate, so pivotal to our dreams and aspirations aflame, it was shattering, he murmured. realizing that the blaze was caused by a Molotov cocktail, not a bomb, provided a perverse kind of relief, a small solace amidst the unfolding nightmare. Kim's journey led her away from the maw of the chaos, traversing the West Bloomfield Township, seeking solace in a familiar place. In the embrace of classmates at a friend's house, the collective trauma birthed a flood of emotion. It was as if all our tears were trying to wash away the horror, to find some semblance of normalcy, Kim recounted. For Alex, liberation came with the words, "Police, police," a beacon of hope, cutting through the shadow of fear. Stepping out of the restroom, with hands raised in a gesture of surrender and relief, he expected an immediate embrace of safety. Instead, he was met with a void of indifference. The psychological scars, the belief in multiple assailants, remained until clarity was provided via an official press conference. Their stories, though unique in perspective, painted a mosaic of a day where the boundary between life and the precipice of mortality was razor thin, a day that would forever be etched in the annals of their memories.